Good afternoon. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm John Bosco Karisa, the CEO of the East African Business Council. I would like first of all to record my appreciation to the media fraternity for the good work you've been doing in terms of communicating the impact of COVID on our economies, on our lives and livelihood. Allow me also commend efforts by our heads of state in terms of putting in place measures to mitigate the impact of COVID in our region, in the East African region. Because when you look at the report, the recent published report by African Development Bank on East African Economic Outlook, the East African region is the only region that did not enter into recession due to strong measures we put in place to contain the spread of COVID-19, but also the strong investment in our agriculture sector, strong and sustained investment in infrastructure, and our deepened efforts in terms of regional integration. So EAC is the only region that survived to go into recession due to those strong instruments put in place by our head of states. Also, I want to commend the efforts and support, financial and technical support by our partner, Trademark East Africa, in terms of coming up with an initiative called Safe Trade Emergency Facility. That was a facility to the tune of $32 million US, which purposely focused on a number of interventions. One was to ensure that our border posts and trade routes are safe for trade and investment. They also introduced, deployed modern technology like the regional tracking app for truck drivers to use their certificate. Once you are tested in one country, you shouldn't be subjected to similar tests. And also their efforts in terms of the trade policy, supply chain. They even introduced e-commerce, and also supported the women in trade program at the border, and they were provided with a number of support mechanisms, including personal protective equipment, and also provided sensitization and education how to mitigate or prevent the spread of COVID-19. So EABC was one of the institutions and the agencies that received substantial support from Trademark East Africa in terms of the Safe Trade Initiative. So with that initiative, of course, the rationale, the importance of the initiative was to continue to reduce the emerging trade costs, improve regional business competitiveness, and through that we were able, through the support, EABC primarily enhanced the data, trade data tracking, analysis, and conducted rapid impact assessment on COVID-19 on businesses and investment. Through the support, we were able to organize private sector consultative dialogues and developed a number of proposals which we tabled under our public-private dialogue. Through the support again from Trademark, we were able to do a number of advocacy-related initiatives at the border posts, trade routes at the ports, and engaging the partners to ensure that our value chain, especially key value chain, were not disrupted. With the support, we were able to roll out a number of interventions, a number of engagements through our government. There was a strong coordinated efforts with the ministers of trade, the ministers of transport, the ministers of health, in terms of having a kind of joint multi-sectoral approach in terms of ensuring that the measures that were instituted to contain the spread of COVID was not affecting the essential supplies, especially the food, the medicines, pharmaceutical related products. So there were a number of support again through our engagement, which had a very positive impact on the growth of intra-regional trade and investment. Regional budget of course, for disaster preparedness. We need to ensure that one thing that we've learned from COVID, that we are not prepared. Our systems were very fragile, so we need to strengthen our mitigation measures. We need to build a strong resilience in our value chain, in our systems and processes. We need also to continue to deepen our collaborative efforts, especially among trade facilitation governance agencies at the border. That's a very key. They play a cardinal role in terms of trade flows, in terms of competitiveness. So their coordination and engagement is very critical, and more capacity building is required. Again, we need to have an EAC common approach to measure to such external shocks, not only COVID but even other shocks. So we need to have to develop a strong, resilient tools and programs to weather the external shocks. Given what is happening with now Russia, Ukraine, it is impacting on our food sector, especially grains. So we need to build a strong, resilient mechanism in the EAC. So in my conclusion again is that Eabc deeply appreciates Trademark East Africa and its donors for excellent work done through the Safe Trade Initiative. As I mentioned, it was a certain $2 million US, and the 6 key interventions were very critical. That it was one of the instruments that supported the region in terms of containing and averting the devastating impact of COVID-19 on our economies, on our lives and our livelihood. Asanteni sana. Thank you very much.